Hi, Cindy. Thank you for today.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Great. Hi.
Hi, Erin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to join the team. It was a
I'm
good
very
meeting.
excited. So excited to have you.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah. Thanks. Good girl. Okay, go lay down. Good girl. Hey. shh. Should I be doing something? This is my first time. Okay.
You're all set, Kim. We'll start the meeting probably a little bit after 7. We're just waiting for Laurel, who is signing in now, and Anthony, and then we'll get going, and you'll know when it's your turn to say something.
Okay.
Hour, maybe.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Hi, Anthony.
What's everyone doing?
Glad he
Anthony?
didn't make any bets tonight, Laurel. He's here.
I just was about to say, let the record show on my computer says 6:59. Well done. Sorry, I was racing to get through the regs. Oof.
Okay, Candace, just a quick thing before we jump into the regs and the variance requests tonight. Do you mind, once we start the meeting, can I introduce Caitlin to everybody?
That'll be great.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be great. All right, it looks like it's 7 o'clock and I see a full house. So why don't we call this meeting to order at 7 p.m., June 15th, 2022. This is the Board of Health. We have Elaine Silva, Lauren Glorville, Candace Linehan, myself, Anthony Choi. We have some public, we have Cindy. Why don't you go ahead, Anthony, and start with your introduction, and then maybe, because I think it'll be quick, we could approve the minutes of last month. I think for me, it seemed pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
And then we'll go from there. So why don't you go ahead, Anthony?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, everyone. So I want to introduce Caitlin Leonard. She comes to us from BU. She's currently a graduate student at the MPH program. She's with us through the MDPH internship program. We're very lucky to have her this summer. She's been working alongside Claire Wright, our intern through Melrose. They're working on some combined projects right now, tobacco related, some environmental health projects. She'll be working with Catherine on some substance use prevention projects moving forward. Just a lot of different things going on this summer, but we're really lucky to have them. They've been helpful through grant writing and everything. So yeah, glad to have them. Caitlin, do you want to give us a little intro?
Thank you so much, Anthony. I'm really glad to be here, and I'm excited to kind of see how a Board of Health meeting is run. And I think I met most of you actually on Saturday at the Festival by the Lake, so it's nice to see you all again. And I think Anthony kind of gave the gist of everything that we're doing. I'm interested in doing epi and biostats, but Claire and I were talking today. We're both also interested in policy, so kind of tonight we're interested in to see the animal regs and how you guys talk about it and go through that process. So thanks, guys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay,
Anthony,
that
do you want
sounds
to
good.
introduce Claire? I see she's with us too.
Yes.
Sorry,
So yeah.
No,
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So again, we're going to introduce Claire Wright. She's coming to us also from BU. She's actually our Melrose intern, but the two of them are going to be working very closely together. So again, very lucky to have them both this summer to work on a variety of different issues. And I'm sure animal regulations as well as some other issues are going to be cross town as well. So we want to make sure that we work as a team on those. So yeah, thank you again. And Claire, if you want to give us a little bit of an intro, that'd be good.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, so as Anthony said, I just finished my first year of my MPH at BU. I've been doing epidemiology and biostats. Again, I have been working for Melrose, but because the two towns share a lot of staff, we've been working kind of in both communities. And as Caitlin said, we're kind of both interested in the epi biostats side of things, but also how we can use data to inform policy. So again, I'm also very interested to see what the process of discussing the regulations is and how the boards of health work and the meetings and stuff. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
welcome. Awesome. Okay, the minutes. Why don't we take a look at the minutes? Anybody have anything on the minutes? They're short and sweet.
No, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Great. Do
Second
I have-
that.
Okay, all in favor?
Gorville, aye.
Over, aye.
Linehan, aye. So moved. Excellent. And then maybe what we could do next is just move to the variance request since we have our public here. No, do you want to, Kim, do you want to talk a little bit about your request and maybe just kind of give us a little background and then we can go from there?
Sure. My name is Kim Albushies. I live on 18 Brewster in Wakefield. And I want to get 4 hens. So we want to build a coop in our backyard and just to be on the up and up, we did get chickens during COVID and it was a complete it was great. But I was so excited that my husband said, yeah, because my daughter asked for them that I didn't even think. So anyway, we ended up, it was great. And we never got, I asked my immediate neighbors and everybody was okay. And, but then our family actually went through a crisis last summer and we got rid of them because of that. And I was actually relieved only because I didn't ask the people behind us. And I always felt bad about that. And so then when everything was okay this year, and I thought, gosh, I really I think I'm a chicken person. I think I like having chickens. And so I wanted to go ahead again. And I was like, I really got to go, I got to do this the right way. And so I really wanted to I wanted to show my kids that this is the right way to go about doing stuff. And so I'm trying again, and I'm just trying to do it the right way. So I got the plot plan and the measurements to my neighbors, and I wrote letters to the 3 across the street, the 2 on the side, the 3 in the back. I talked to everybody, and needed to send a certified letter to the neighbor directly behind us. And I did find my little slip here from the post office saying that I sent a certified letter. So I guess there's a number on here we can find out if she got it or not. But actually, I got a phone call during work today saying I needed a letter back saying that she had received it, and I didn't get that. So my husband actually went and talked with her, and she signed. It says, and I can show this on the screen here. It says, "This letter confirms that I did receive the certified letter about Kim Elbushy's applying for a variance from the town for placement of chicken coop on our property," and then she signed it. So I can show you that. I also have her signature from before. So I don't know what else I need. No, that was it.
Thank you, Kim. Just bear with me here. This is a variance basically because of the distance that the coop is from lot lines, right?
Yeah.
Erin, maybe you have more to explain?
Yeah, I can speak to that. We asked her to apply for the variance and especially send a certified letter to the abutter in the rear of her property, because instead of 50 feet, it would be 10 feet from the neighbor's property. And it would be about 38 feet, I think, from the other neighbors. So we were just asking her to notify everybody.
Great. And it sounds like everybody has been notified and has responded. I don't see anybody else on for public participation tonight to speak on this issue. Is anybody else? Right. Okay. All right. So it seems like the conversation is really about whether the distance seems okay. Laurel or Elaine, any thoughts?
How did you, when you had the chickens the last time, did you ever have anybody locally, the people behind you or anyone around, ever question you or complain about anything?
Nope, they were great. Everybody seemed, in fact, my neighbor to the side of me had questions. You hear stuff about rats and about this yucky stuff. And so we talked with them, and we got a great feeder that was vermin proof, and because I don't want any of that stuff either. So everybody seemed, they ended up really liking them, so which was nice.
It's a nice looking coop.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
drawing. Mhm.
Thank you.
Has anyone been out there to see it from Wakefield?
No, I mean, I'd be happy to have anybody. We haven't built it yet. We started just because my husband got some free wood, and so we just started to build something and thought, even if it doesn't go through, we'll just sell it. So
Okay. Did you have a different coop before?
we did, yeah. We sold that as well.
Okay.
That was really nice too.
Okay. So this is a totally new structure for them. Okay. Laurel?
It's been so long since we've done a variance for chickens. So Anthony, just remind me on the process. Do we generally, we judge this based on a plan? We're not the building inspector and do site visits unless there's an issue, generally, right?
Yeah, so generally we just look at the plan and see, what the proposed distance is, or whatever the variance is for this. In this case, it is for the distance from the butter. We can we could take a site visit just to go see if there's anything that would affect our judgment here, but I don't think we know of any factors that might affect that. And I know we've reached out to the state poultry expert. I know Erin's already reached out to them. I don't know that we received a definitive answer on anything like that, but I don't think at this time we have anything that says we.
Okay.
that we should.
I have a question about the bottom of the drawing. How far into the ground are you going to go? Do you know? Because that seems to be always a problem with chicken places. I've seen people with them that they're not deep enough, and that's when your animals can get in. Do you know how deep you're going? I know you have the width 6, 4, and 4, and it looks like it's going to be wood on the bottom there, and then you're putting in cement pavers. So is like the bottom of the coop here, and the cement pavers are just going to be right at the bottom of the coop? Or is that foundation or coop wire going to go down under a little bit?
So the plan was to have the pavers just go around the perimeter, because it gets muddy.
Mm.
But I could even walk outside and show you with the camera, but I have, it's 1/4 inch, it's called hardware cloth. It's, metal wire, and it's only 1/4 inch big. And the last time we had them, I dug a foot trench around and I buried it so that nothing could burrow. And this time I thought I'm gonna line the ground with the 1/4 inch, and then there's 1/4 inch all the way around so that nothing can tunnel up from under. And then we're gonna use screws and washers so that it's better than just a staple, so that nothing can tear into it and pull it out.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So the coop itself is not on the ground at all. In fact, so the chickens can go under the coop, and it's going to be 3 feet off the ground with a ladder coming down. And then that run is also enclosed. So the chickens themselves are going to be 3 feet off the ground unless they're out during the day in the run.
It's another HGTV chicken coop.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be super
It's gotten
cute.
competitive in this town.
How many how many chickens do you plan to have?
The space can hold 5. They say they should have 3 to 4 feet inside and 10 feet outside to be happy, so they don't hurt each other. So it's going to be 12 square feet inside, and that can hold, I think that can hold 4 to 5. So I'm looking at 4.
And do you know where are you getting the chickens? So will they be coming from chickens that have been tested for salmonella?
I don't know if do chickens get tested for salmonella? I know they get.
So anyone getting chickens in Massachusetts should be getting like a certification with them that says they were from a salmonella-free flock.
Okay, so they must. So I'm looking at reputable hatcheries. I was looking at and I've actually had to change because where I was going to get them at a farm in Maine, and now they don't, like, that time is, the chick time is over. So I have to now find a hatchery, and then they're going to mail them to me. There's a few different options, but I know they do different vaccines. They do Merrick's, and I can find out about the salmonella. I'm assuming that it's probably pretty standard, because everybody getting chickens is they're all gonna have the same issues. So I would think that would be something they would.
Yeah, so that's in our regulations, and we would ask that you be able to show us that certification when we do the coop inspection. And if you ever plan to give away any chickens,
No.
If for some reason you needed to give one away, they would also need to be tested for salmonella. And that testing is done by labs, or it's done for free by the state. I'll send you the animal resources. Have you seen the poultry guidance, best management practices for poultry?
Yeah, I know that I don't, I'm not going to go to shows, and I'm not going to have visiting.
No, I know this is for all chicken. This is for domestic chickens, just keeping chickens.
I've read about, I forget, best practices that when you're most likely to get sick, when your chickens are most likely to get sick, it's because they get sick from other birds. So that's what I mean, like they pick it up from shows or they pick it up from other farms so I'm not planning on getting more chickens, and I'm not planning on selling them or.
Okay, yeah, just to make sure, when you do get chickens, you want to make sure they come from a flock that has been tested. Okay.
Erin, you make a good point. I don't think that we have been quite so informative. So Erin's our new inspector. And I'm wondering if it would be prudent, because, you know, we are trying to pull, you know, we're over time, we're trying to get more centralized and, you know, go to common resources. So maybe when, maybe part of our, and we're about to talk about animal regs. So this is not, this is a future sort of thing, but I think it might be a service to applicants to have either a packet with information with the regs, or at the very least, a link.
Yeah, I think it's on our website, the
It
best
is.
management. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and it probably is. We kind of we're deferring to links and websites a lot, and I'm all about protecting trees, but it does seem like it would be a nice package to say, and here's your, you know, here's your, you know, here's your fee, you know, and this is what we recommend, because I don't think people really, you know, take that extra step, and not everybody is a link hunter. So, they'd rather be outside with chickens than trying to find that link that might not be working or has been done. So I'm just going to suggest, as a matter of practice, that we're, you know, citizen friendly. I'm trying to find client, patient, what do I want to talk about? But we're serving the town, and I think kind of, because I think it's people who tend to work with chickens are thinking more conservationally, and I think it would be nice to kind of package it in, I don't know, the town could use some spirit. So I'm ready for all the chicken people to have like a coop open house, or something, because we need a golden trowel award, we need whatever to lift some spirits. But it's just my 2 cents.
Let me ask you, you say what about the person that's selling the eggs from the farm? I know some people have gotten the eggs and have actually hatched them, and got their chickens. And then some have bought them live. Crazy things, but they all had good eggs. I never got one, but is it their responsibility when they're selling, especially like she said, from Maine? I know there's so many that are supposed to be so organic and naturally up there with their chickens. Is it their responsibility also to say something to the person? I mean, is there a difference if you get them as an egg and hatch them, or if you get them whole, whether or not they reveal anything?
I'm kind of a rookie, and I'm not sure what hatcheries. I'm new to hatcheries, and I've typically gone to look at chicks at the Tractor Supply or at Agway, and they get them from hatcheries. So I think if you get that, like, I can order eggs and I can get an incubator and I can hatch them here at home, but then I'm not sure if I'm getting a rooster or a hen.
Right.
And on it, anyone that tells you that they can sex a chicken it's not accurate. You can definitely buy a hen.
There's no gender reveal parties for.
Right.
No, there isn't.
I think that'd be cool, but I don't, not with an egg. So
we're not asking you to either. We're all just educating ourselves.
Yeah, and I think all of
sometimes
this,
feel like we pepper you with questions and you're like, I don't know. We were like, yeah, we don't expect you to know. It's a conversation.
well, and I think all of this is like any market, like there's good chicken breeders and there's not so good ones. So I mean, same with dogs. It's or any pets, like it's really hard to tell us. But so that's why it's important to educate yourself about what you should be looking for when you're getting your chickens. So
Right.
No,
yeah.
I do
I've done a lot of
see,
research.
I see here in the regs that they mention, and this might be outdated, but the National Poultry Improvement Plan, that folks should be a participant in this group. So I wonder if that might be like a certificate that you might look for when you purchase.
Yeah, when you look at hatcheries, you know, or anywhere, I mean, I'm not getting them off of eBay or Craigslist or, you know, like, and I want to make sure they have the Merrick's vaccine. And so I guess I'm deferring to them because this is their business and they sell that, you know, these hatcheries sell to companies that have been around and know a lot more about chickens than I do. So yeah, I've done a lot of research, and I want healthy, nice, quiet egg laying hens as much as, you know, as much as you want me to. I would like that as well.
So it seems like, I suppose the bigger conversation we're having here tonight is about the variance, right? And the distance, and all this other stuff is super important, but it sounds like you kind of know what to do, Kim, right? This is actually your second time around, and please don't feel bad about not exactly doing it by the book the first time. The book clearly needs to be rewritten by us. So I know a lot of folks, you know, were just looking for something over the last 2 years to sort of bring a little bit of joy. And sometimes it's easy to forget that there are some regulations and rules out there. So please don't worry.
Thank you.
Not to mention the health department is
Yeah.
looking at other things too.
Yeah.
It's a wash. So we're not hearing, so there's no contest from any of the neighbors.
That's what I'm hearing.
Okay. And my only other question was, are we close to any waterways? Is there like a stream or anything that could flood?
Would it be helpful if I walked outside? Do you guys
No.
want to see?
No.
It's okay. I mean, you sent us a map, so it's okay. And honestly, from what I'm hearing, I think, you know, I wouldn't say no to a site visit, but I don't know if I feel the need to send somebody out there at this time to check it out. I think I would be more inclined to recommend that if there were some abutters that had something to say about this, but it sounds like that's not the case tonight.
If somebody wasn't good with it, they could join this meeting and voice.
Yes. Yep. Which is why we posted it, so that they would have the opportunity, and that's why you did everything you did by sending them the letters. And nobody's here, so you know we've given them the opportunity, and it also seems like it's your impression that none of your neighbors have an issue with this as well. So.
Right, there's one gentleman in the back, and we've never spoken. I've lived here for, I don't know, 16, 17 years. And when I went over there in March, I think, or I sent a letter in March, he didn't sign it saying, yeah, that's okay. And then when I went over there to ask him to sign, he said, no, I can't imagine why anyone would want chickens. And he was just angry. And he, I don't know. And he was accusing me of all kinds of stuff, which I didn't understand about, that I was going about it the wrong way. And that I don't know. I don't know. I think he's kind of a grumpy guy, but that's why I wanted to make sure that if he wasn't happy about this, that he knew about this and that he could come and say what his, you know, if he has it, maybe his daughter's allergic to chicken, or I don't know, you know, maybe they were super noisy before, or I wanted to make sure that he had a voice tonight if he was unhappy. But then I heard that I actually didn't even need his permission, that we share 4 feet of our backyard. But that it was 23 Jackson who I needed to ask about the variance, and maybe I'm sharing too much and I should stop talking.
No, that's okay. And Cindy, we don't have anything from anyone. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I read what you sent just this afternoon, which was a thumbs up for it, so. So, I don't know, a little new at this. Do we, maybe anyone want to make a motion to?
Yeah, I'm prepared to make a motion to accept the variance on the plan.
Is there,
That's all.
yeah, is there a second?
I'll second to accept.
All in favor?
Corville, I.
Silver, aye.
Linehan, aye. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Kim. It was helpful. And thank you for all of your, all the paperwork. It makes it really clear to sort of see what your plans are. So thank you for that and good luck.
Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, take good care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Let's see. Do we want to talk about the pre-rental inspection fee before? I feel like animal regs is going to take some time. And I'm not really sure what the pre-rental inspection fee agenda item is completely about. So maybe somebody could share.
Sure, yeah, so the pre-rental inspection fee, that's more specifically for requests we get from other jurisdictions for Section 8 housing, as well as other housing voucher programs. So generally speaking, these programs require a pre-inspection of the unit before tenants can move in to make sure that they meet the minimum sanitary code. And so because we have a shortage throughout the state of inspectors, the state does not have, a surplus of inspectors and come out and do these inspections, and the towns from which these are assigned, either housing authorities or other departments assigning these living units, do not have the inspectors to send to do the inspections. We will sometimes go out and fulfill these inspections for them. That being said, this pre-rental inspection fee is really charged for the landlord and not to the tenant. And so we're looking to kind of compensate our inspectors' time, because this is also kind of outside of our scope, but again, it's something that's necessary for residents to move in here. So we want to also be able to compensate our time spent on this as well.
So what we were sent in our packet, was that an example of what that would look like, or was that an actual? Okay, so that was
correct. Example. Yeah.
But I don't see any dollar amount here. Am I missing something? I see a report. Did I miss like a
fee
In the other.
Let me look closer. I perhaps I missed it.
Okay. Does anybody else see the? I believe the pre-inspection fee that we're proposing is $75. I don't know if it's written on there. Cindy, do you remember?
Oh yes, yes, I see
That
it.
is-
I
It is, okay.
apologize.
That's
Yep.
okay. Yeah.
Is that consistent with our neighbors, our other towns?
Yes. So I believe it's consistent with Malden. Yep. And
Okay.
yeah, Malden is our example that we follow.
Anthony, is this inspection, the idea of having this, because I mean, I worked with an ISD and we had a city ordinance that if you were a landlord and you were renting, that you had to have this inspection. And it does help for the landlord and for the thing. Is this available anywhere in town besides us in the health department? Or, because I know with the Section 8, they usually do call the health department. They're pretty good about that. But the average person that wants to rent an apartment, can they ask us to go in and do this also?
Yeah, so I mean, this would be similar to any kind of request from a tenant, right, of a housing unit. They can request an inspection. Generally speaking, I don't know that we have the I mean, I can speak to it right now. I don't think we have the resources to really fulfill all of these requests if every rental unit were to be pre-inspected. I think that's something that, Malden has kind of built into a program which allows them to have multiple inspectors, be able to do this as kind of, and they also have a database of every single rental, right? So landlords feed into the system that we know, when people move out, that sort of thing. We currently don't have that infrastructure in Wakefield to do that. So if there are requests by renters to go out and do a housing inspection, we can fulfill it. But for the time being, I don't think we're gonna make it a regular practice. Erin, you want to chime in there?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, I think what Elaine's asking is, could any landlord request a pre-rental inspection?
For a landlord,
And to that,
yeah.
I would say yes, like
Yes.
absolutely. It's something that could be done beforehand, and it's something to protect the landlord, against anything, because if we do an inspection, everything is in compliance in September, someone moves in and destroys the place and then calls us, we can say, we did have a record, we were in there before, and, everything was done. If the landlord conducts the pre-occupancy inspection themselves, we
Yeah.
sort of take those inspections with a grain of salt because we don't know when those pictures were taken. So, it is, it's something to protect the landlord as well. So I think right now we would just be calling this the, voluntary pre-occupancy inspection program
Voluntary, okay.
versus having required pre-occupancy inspections, which would be really difficult and, impossible to police.
Also, thank you for actually answering the question, Erin. I totally missed
No,
that
it's
one.
okay.
So thank you for
All right,
answering it.
I understand you.
Do we have a handle on how many rental units there are in Wakefield? Housing probably could tell us, right? Maybe.
Housing might be able to give us a general estimate, but I don't think we have a.
Yeah,
So,
it'd probably
exact
be a
number.
mix of different places. Like we'd have to ask the assessor how many multifamily
Yeah.
units and then try to go from there to figure out.
Yeah, because you
I
think
wonder
of
if water might
Hartsville,
know.
so we have some units that we're aware of that utilize
Yeah.
lots of services, but now that we're kind of becoming health and human services, some of this, it's so interesting, this is where we start kind of, who belongs to this. So sometimes it's building, and then, and there have been times where we're pulled in building, fire, and Board of Health for things like, a condemning a building, but then finding safe placement for the occupant or the owner, and trying to help them up. And we have tried to do that as judiciously and humanely. And actually, sometimes it's been really good. Someone's inherited a property, they're kind of stuck there, it's not safe, they don't know their resources. So once you pull the resources in, then you can, we did it so quickly once that the place was condemned, the person was safely placed and tied into some resources. The property was turned over and bulldozed with a brand new inspectable building that met all code, pretty quickly. So it's just nice to, make sure that we have our alliances and who it is that we're going to connect with.
So this item is just whether we agree with the fee of $75. What was the fee before? Was it less?
So we didn't actually have a fee prior to this, and we didn't get a whole lot of requests, but we, now it's starting to pick up a little bit. So we didn't have a fee, and I think we're voting on both the fee and just having a pre-inspection form to collect all this information too.
So it would be, I think it would be prudent for us to actually see what a form would look like,
It's in the packet.
Oh, it is.
That's in
I
packet,
thought
yeah.
that was example. Okay, you're right. I didn't get through them all.
It's like a checklist. It looks pretty straightforward. Is that consistent with what Malden does also? Is that where this kind of template came from?
Yeah, it's the standard housing inspection form.
Okay.
that we use, yeah.
And this really isn't about like fitness of the building, the structure. It's more like what's going on inside the unit.
It's the state housing code. So it's the 105 CMR 410. So it's it does include structural, but if there was, if I had any questions about the integrity of the structure, I would go to the building inspector. Same with fire. Like I check smoke and CO detectors on the inspection, and anything more than like 4 units, there's supposed to be like a sprinkler system. Anything like that, I would notify the fire prevention inspector as well with those findings. But the housing code, so it's the minimum standards of fitness for human habitation. It does include, structure, pests, and, windows, doors, all of the, different minimum requirements that all landlords are required to follow in Massachusetts.
Erin, where are you at on us having this or how the fee structure feels for you?
I think it's a good idea because right now we're being tasked with, doing other people's inspections for free, basically. So yeah, it is a good thing because it does use up resources.
Yeah,
So,
we don't have very many for that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay. So is anyone up for making a motion to have inspection available and to accept the fee of $75 for that
Aye.
inspection?
Make a motion to have the inspection available by request, to have the fee of $75 upon each inspection.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Silver eye.
Aye.
Linehan, aye. So moved.
Silver eye.
Okay, excellent.
All right, find my regs.
All right, so I'm looking here. We have our health director's report and we have animal regs. I would say let's choose the smaller of those two discussions to have first. Anthony, is that you think maybe yours, or do you,
Yes.
where are you at as far as your?
Very quick report. Nothing too much to report. So I'm not sure. I don't think we've done a formal introduction. So Erin is our new senior health inspector, senior environmental health specialist for the town of Wakefield and city of Melrose. She joins us with lots of experience. She was formerly in Stoneham prior to this as the health agent. So again, we're very lucky to have her. She has a great skill set, and clearly she knows the housing code and the food code extremely well. So this is great to have her. So we've already given her plenty of tough cases in the first couple of weeks here. So yeah, we're happy to have her here.
Great. Welcome, Erin.
And then just a couple of other things. So we've recently posted for our 3 new positions. So we have a social services coordinator posted. That will be a full-time position with the town of Wakefield. That one's out up on the website and in Indeed and other places. So if you know of anybody that's interested, or you have other networks to tap into, please feel free to send this out to everybody. We also have an assistant public health nurse. That is a position that is posted as well. It is up to 19.5 hours a week, part-time, non-benefit eligible, but we can be flexible. Slightly under 19 hours is okay as well. So that one will be a Wakefield specific position that reports to our public health nurse, Melissa Lowry. And then we have a health inspector full-time position posted with the town of Wakefield as well. That will be a Wakefield specific position, 35 hours a week. And we are currently looking right now. So we're in the process of screening applicants, and we will start interviewing soon. So again, if you know of any networks to tap into, or anybody you might know that might be interested in applying, feel free to send this out.
Great.
Are there any questions about the positions themselves, about logistics?
Are we so what's going on with we don't need to hear the specifics about office space, but you know, have we kind of waited on our HHS title for the fiscal year, or like, you know, where's the process in all of this?
So the title for the department, Wakefield Health and Human Services, is already active in effect. So all of our documentation moving forward should specifically say Health and Human Services. I believe the website has already been adjusted to reflect that as well. Any future communication through the Board of Health will also, and through our joint Board of Health and Health Department, communication should say Wakefield Health and Human Services moving forward. So.
Well, we don't have to change our name. We're not the Board of HHS. We can stay the Board.
I believe you guys are remaining the Wakefield Board of Health.
Don't like change.
I'll have to change all my stationery.
Oh. We have so much. Yeah.
And in terms of space, we are going to implement some sort of a clown car, in the sense that we're going to try and fit everybody in and see how many people we can fit in before the building explodes. So we'll find out.
Keep the windows open. Okay.
How's the interest, Anthony, for those positions? Are you getting a fair amount of applicants?
We're getting a healthy amount of applicants. This is obviously a couple positions that are historically difficult to fill. I don't need to, belabor the point, but inspectors are very hard to come by in the state of Massachusetts. We're very willing to train individuals that might have experience or interest, or some experience in the field in food science, or any kind of background in that. We're willing to train. Public health nurses are also difficult to come by. There's a lot of skill. There's a lot of skills here on this call, but we're looking for someone to fill that spot and willing to learn. And well, the example being Melissa. She came in a very experienced nurse, but didn't have as much public health nursing background, but she stepped into that role and learned very quickly. So we're confident that, you know, anybody that we bring in would be able to assimilate pretty quickly. And then, you know, same thing, social worker is actually, social services coordinator is actually the position that we've received many applicants for, many qualified individuals. So we'll definitely be very excited to interview a lot of people, see what the best fit will be.
Great. Any other health director shares?
Not at the moment. I believe that's all the information I had today.
Okay.
Okay.
So animal regs. I read them. It was kind of great reading. I don't know, Caitlin and Claire, if you guys are looking for something to do with your Friday night.
Yeah, sure.
Man, like, I didn't know that we could keep pigeons here in the town of Wakefield, and that there are some fascinating rules about how many pigeons can fly at a certain time. There's a lot. And I can see that Ruth did a lot of good work. I read through her revisions mostly because it seems like that makes sense to start, kind of pick up where she left off rather than reinvent the wheel. I don't know, does anybody have anything that jumped out at them? Like any, I don't know, anything to start the ball rolling?
I'm trying to pull them. I downloaded them and then it's the one problem about being on a COVID, I mean, on screen and looking at your stuff.
Oh, I had to get old school.
So I just had one question about it because it looks like the animal inspector is not through the Board of Health
Right.
in Wakefield.
Yeah, who is that person?
So he's
I
not
don't
even,
know.
he's not an inspector.
Is it the dog person?
Yep.
Sometimes it's
And
the
we shared him
same-
with Reading, right?
August, don't we?
So animal inspectors can be the same as animal control officers. In some towns they are.
Yeah.
They don't have to be. But the animal inspector usually has to be like appointed by the Board of Health.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like I was confused.
I think our person was hired, right? And because
Well-
he shared between two different
So-
towns. or
so
three.
what I-
First of all, let's back up. He's part of safety. He's not
Okay,
under
so it's
our,
all public
he's not,
safety.
he's
Yeah,
not under
he
our
is.
jurisdiction, and that's the way it's been
Been like that for 40 something years since I
forever.
moved here.
Yeah.
And so is he more of a control than an inspector?
Yes.
He's considered animal control is his title, and I believe he came under the police department, and I
Yep.
think he's still under their
Still there.
budget.
Does anyone
But
know
we,
who does the rabies quarantine follow-ups and the barn book every year? Who does, because those are like specific to animal inspectors.
must do it.
Okay.
I don't know. We were never really involved with him because he came under the police department and he had nothing to do with us, and he was shared amongst two or three.
Okay.
And the only time we ever had, if there's been a big problem with like a stray dog or something, police has always gone out. They've been pretty good to go out, or they try to get another animal inspector. And the only other time we ever had any animal, we had the sheep. Remember the sheep we had? They had to eat the lawn, and we had a pig.
Yeah, I was gonna say pigs, chickens, that kind of stuff. That's animal inspector. Loose dogs, a stray dog, that would be animal control.
Or like a raccoon or like it's some.
Yeah.
Does he answer? He may even answer. Does he answer for raccoons? I've never seen anything in the item. I've never had a crazy raccoon. Had some crazy coyotes in the neighborhood the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I can't. I think we'd have to defer to police and ask them exactly what his job description is, Anthony and Erin. I know what you mean,
Yeah.
Erin. Yeah, because
Yeah, because MDAR sends, Mass Department of Agricultural Resources, they send out a barn book every August. And then all they say is, it's your job to have your animal inspector inspect all the chicken coops, stables, any other livestock need to be inspected, and you need to return this book by December 31st.
Oh,
So to be honest, this is our first go around with this, or at least my first go around with this.
Okay.
No.
I don't think we've had anybody actually fill that role prior, because the animal control is actually completely separate from, like Erin's been saying, the animal inspector is separate from the animal control, and that's kind of a distinction that we have to make with the town. I think it's just kind of been an informal agreement that we would go and inspect complaints, but we never completed the, the inspections for the
Yeah,
chicken
you know
coops and
what, the state might know, the like MDAR, like Ashley Kraft that works at MDAR, she might know who's supposed to be like our animal inspector, because they would be reaching out to us if we didn't have anyone assigned.
Did Coral ever go to any of this kind of stuff?
Coral probably did. Yes.
Coral probably did, but Cindy, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think she ever made the rounds for every chicken coop and for anything else that was kept here. I don't think she actually went out to those routinely.
No.
Each year. So
Okay.
I don't know that she was appointed as the animal inspector in Wakefield, and I don't know who the current person is, but I know the animal control officer does not do that. So we would
Okay.
probably that's probably something that we would have to look into, and we may have to appoint somebody.
Okay.
Or maybe someone
Yeah.
updated. So.
No, I remember Coral was, she kept asking me about that. Like, who is an inspector? Who's the one that's supposed to be inspecting all the animal permit holders? And I've never known anybody to do that here in Wakefield, but someone must be doing them, Erin, like you said, or MDAR would be calling.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
Right.
yeah, if the
So
barn book's not
yeah.
sent to the health department, where is it sent every year?
But
Right.
so Aaron, you're saying basically the book is sent to us, but we don't have to report it back to them, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the book's being sent to us or if MDAR just knows like someone else is the animal inspector and they send it right to them.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. So MDAR sends it out, but there's no obligation for us to send it back, right? We have to have someone doing it, but we don't report it back. Is that correct?
You do. You send it back.
Oh, you do.
You
so
mail
someone
it.
is.
Yeah,
So you're
you
saying
have to
so someone is
physically.
sending it back. Okay.
Yeah, you have to physically mail it back to MDAR before December 31st.
We just don't know who's doing that or if
Yeah,
it's being
yeah.
done.
Right, I was gonna
Okay.
say, it's an assumption to think that somebody else is doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are those things where people, in theory, it's great, but in practice, it hasn't happened. I can tell you 12 years
Yeah,
ago, we
because-
were barely able to keep up with restaurant inspections, and animal inspections definitely were not happening. And even now, I don't think, let's go through the regs, because I think we've always had the right to inspect, but I don't think that we have ever scheduled animal permits for inspection. It's generally been as an as needed with a complaint.
Right.
That
And
route did go out for.
do we need to go out? I mean, do
yeah.
we need to, like, if there's not a complaint and people are submitting these detailed applications, do we really need to send someone out unless something comes up? If we
I
we
think
should have all
we do
this stuff.
because we did. Do you remember, Laurel and Cindy probably recall when we had the pig there and the people were opposed? A Ruth
Yeah.
went out.
Yeah, I was
after we
gonna say, if
approved their
anyone did it, it
permit.
was Ruth. Ruth would often take that on.
She always went out if there was a question with the sheep, even if there was a question with chicken, she did go out. And we did once as a board go for a chicken complaint to
Mhm.
take a look at it. But
But those were
otherwise,
from
this,
complaints, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
just routine. It was because there
Yeah,
was
but-
an issue.
Yeah, so someone must be doing or maybe someone is doing the routine annual inspections, but yeah, I think so. I will follow up and confirm that. I
Thank
guess
you.
I'll meet with the animal inspector. And
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about process, the animal inspector does not have access to the permits. We do.
So yeah, that was what I was
No,
gonna say. No
There's
one's
no
ever,
connection. Yeah. I'm sorry.
no one's
Cindy?
ever asked me for the list of permit holders.
yeah,
So
then
that's-
how would anyone know what to inspect? Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So,
Do we have, Cindy, do you know any like unique animal permits right now on file other than chickens?
Yep, just the gentleman that's on Parker Road will get his pigs again. And he also has goats.
So that
That's it.
one particular gentleman has pigs and goats, and then the rest of the permits have just been for chicken.
Chickens, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And folks need to have these kind of permits for horses also? Yep.
Yeah, I was the animal inspector. I was the health agent in Milton when I first started. And so, yeah, I did the stable inspections. People had horses, mini horses, and a lot of the barns were nicer than my house.
And they still
No, some
are.
very
Erin.
nice barns. Yeah.
They're still nice. I've seen them. I
Yeah.
know the girl that's down there now in Milton, and
Yeah.
she was talking about them. Yeah, we were saying about she couldn't come to a meeting because she had a horse, had to go inspect the horses.
Oh yeah,
so.
there was one horse with the floors are heated. So like
Wow, that's a very loved
yeah.
pet.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess, sort of in the same vein as whether or not the animal inspector exists or what that person's role might be, is like when complaints come in, other than the times Laurel and Elaine, you recall Elaine going out, has anyone else ever gone out? Like, did Coral go out for these complaints or other inspectors, did they go out?
Coral and Ruth didn't they,
Right.
Cindy? I
Yeah,
think they
Coral
went out. If there was
of like animal experience. So I know Coral was very hands-on with animals. Yeah.
Yeah, if there was ever a complaint about one of our chicken permit holders, or even if it was a random complaint about an animal, sometimes she would go just because somebody had to.
Okay. And have we just not really gotten many of those? I feel like I haven't heard. Is it just because we've been so involved in COVID?
that many.
No,
We don't have many,
I
right?
recently got a, no, I haven't got many complaints about our permit holders at all.
Right.
But as far as other animals, we did get a complaint recently about the
Oh, you're breaking up,
raccoon
Cindy.
in someone's window in a house as a pet.
I'm
Oh,
sorry. Could you say that
What?
again, Cindy?
so no complaints with our permit holders, but a recent complaint came in about a raccoon in someone's home.
Oh,
And that the animal control officer said he would defer to wildlife,
Yeah.
environmental.
oh, so that's even another sort of element of this too. So when it's a true like wild animal, that's not an animal control or an animal that's wildlife.
It depends. If it's private property, we'll tell people to call environmental,
Yes.
Okay.
It's a contractor. It's not a it's not a,
Yeah.
it's a paid for contractor.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so but getting to the regs, do you want to just kind of look at, does anyone want to share screen? I don't know that I can do it, maybe. Let's see. I'm just gonna look at mine and I can't see any of you, but kind of running down it. There's a section before section 7 that I am the editing police. Where is it? Section 6, fees and permits.
So on page 3, where Ruth writes, should this be the health agent or the animal inspector? I think
Right.
my,
This is
I
kind of
would,
what we were talking about.
yeah, I would suggest it should say Board of Health or its appointed agent or agents, versus inspector of animals, since that's not under Board of Health. Because
Yeah,
we would be the ones enforcing these regulations.
right.
And are we feeling comfortable with the deletions that she's made so far?
Yeah. I think she did them purposefully,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but there's
I usually
something where she wrote potable, but she didn't write water. She just wrote potable, and I wanted to add water, but damned if I can find it.
I know what you're talking about. I saw that too. Okay.
There was, while you guys are looking for that, page 3, birds and fowl. I don't know, for some reason I don't have the edited version. I only have the original, but did we correct birds and fowl where it says no less than 50 feet from any dwelling? Because was the original intent for that to be no closer than 50 feet to a dwelling?
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yes.
Same
Yeah.
with the 20 feet from a public private way, and same with the 50 feet from an
So
abutter.
she kind of, okay, hold on, let's check the grammar.
Yeah, it's a little bit of
Tell me
a,
what section as opposed to page.
Oh, it's section 409-5, part B.
Oh, right. General conditions.
Shall not be,
It says shall be no less than 50 feet from any dwelling.
shall be not less than 50 feet.
Is that correct,
Is it
or
number
is
2,
that
housing shall be located on land with good drainage and not subject to period.
So it basically shouldn't be closer than 50 feet. So maybe that actually is grammatically
is
accurate.
that correct? I was just reading the second part too, so I guess
Hen house structures and enclosures shall be not less than 50 feet from any dwelling, no less than 20 feet from any public or private way, and no less than 50 feet.
okay. So that's actually correct. Okay.
The
Yeah, I
same
think
as
so.
that leaf.
It's not as clean as it could be, but I think it's actually
Okay.
correct.
So that potable.
And then I think they fixed about 3 paragraphs down is the potable thing, and I see in the,
It's somewhere else.
oh, all
It's
right.
way before then. So let's see. I'm trying.
Do a control F and search.
No, that's too fancy for me.
Okay.
Hold on. Control F.
Yeah, control F and then type potable.
Oh,
And it'll
right.
light it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right. There it is. Thank you. Nice trick. You learned something. It's page, well, on the new page 3, just before number 2, the applicant shall. There's a little thing that says a plot plan showing the lot borders with dimensions of the facility, setbacks from property lines and structures, location of potable, comma. It just should be potable water, right? Can I add that myself?
Oh, and she does specify that it should be from a tested flock. I knew she would have. Okay.
Oh, good.
Good.
Okay. All right. And then, Aaron, I don't know if you know this, but is there something specific to, so it's section, is it 10 or 11 for pigs? Does it have to be cement or iron trough?
Yeah, that is something I also need to look up because I don't know a lot about pigs.
Okay. So I'm like, I don't know. I think this was written before there was plastic, but you would, it's just.
Yeah, I don't know if
interesting to
like it
me
can
that-
be PVC or something, and like
Yeah.
it's fine.
Can you just double check that on the regs? Because it seems antiquated to me, but there might be a reason. I don't know.
It
shall be
definitely,
fed
I
from
think it definitely could be.
Yeah, it says feeding. Pigs shall be fed from troughs of cement or iron and shall be, I don't know, that just seems to be.
Yeah, I don't know the science behind
Those-
that.
Yeah, those can't be really sterilized. Iron and cement
I
really
know.
can't, whereas you could with the PVC or one of the
I
new
know.
ones.
Yeah, exactly, because it's porous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just rusty. So, who's gonna look into that? Is that your job, Erin?
Yeah, I can look into that. Yeah, because I'm gonna do some more pig research because I didn't know. Yeah, I was surprised that pigs were included in this, but that's why, because we have someone with pigs.
And I see that they make a difference between pigs and swine. That like one is something that possibly lives in a house as more of like a companion.
Like a potbelly pig?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't specific with pot belly because I know Ruth was asking me about that.
Yeah.
Because where I was, we specifically did that because people wanted to bring them in as pets.
Yeah.
And then the only other time, Erin, we had for a pig and Anthony was the one, remember they got the pig and they raised it to actually slaughter it. It was
Yeah.
going to be for food purposes
Yep.
and they only had a permit for a while.
I
Yeah,
think
they had
someone's
a
still doing
like-
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yes.
Eat your meat.
Yeah. The honest way. Let's see. And then there's something about free range chicken, which I think.
I think we did. So they do specify like free range standards of like 3 square feet per chicken.
Yep. And then 4 square feet of surface, 3 square feet inside, 4 square feet maybe outside?
Like to roam.
Yeah.
Just per chicken.
Yeah, but that's why it kind of looked like we were telling them no more than that. I'm trying to find it. I was like, what do you mean they can't free range? Like I know chickens in Wakefield who
Oh yeah, they want a
Wakefield
free
everywhere
range.
in people's
Yeah.
yards. They're like pets.
And they eat the ticks.
That's right.
Well, there's even like a specific line here that says chickens shall be confined at all times and
Yeah.
not permitted to run at large.
Right. And that's
totally against, but was that referring to not being to run out of their area, like out of their fenced yard? Most people.
Yeah, that
I
I
think
I
that's what
believe
they're
that's
referring to. Yep.
yeah, that's more the intent. Like has to be,
Yeah.
Sort
Right.
of like a dog is leashed, like
So
under
it's still like
control.
penned, but the pen can be very large.
Yeah. Also
Yeah.
to protect them from predators too.
right. So
Yeah.
well, that's the thing is people generally will let chickens roam during the day, and that's why you put them in the coop at night.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, it says orders, the hen house, it does say shall not be no, that's of the property boundaries. Okay. I know a lot of people who take their chickens out, and let them run in their own property, and I've
Yeah.
seen them on the street. That's when you usually get the complaints when the chickens are running.
You sure
Been
that
there,
wasn't a
done that.
turkey?
Been done there and done that after a chicken looking for them.
Hey, fun fact, do the turkeys eat the ticks? Because that would make me happier.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know
they
if they
eat
do.
anything.
They're just a nuisance.
They
Yeah.
are.
They like to
Okay.
just go after cars, that's all.
All right.
Was there anything in there about the amount of chickens that someone can have? Because I know that Ruth wanted to
Says
change
six.
that.
So
Six.
that was one of the things that we wanted to talk about. I think the intent of the cap on chickens was to make sure that we didn't have it being too dense. But I think by limiting it by a cap, it's not necessarily evidence based. I think it should be more of a density based question. So if they have a large facility, and Aaron and I talked about this, if they have a large enough facility, they should be able to keep as many chickens as as they want. That's suitable for that space, right? So. Just putting a hard cap on it doesn't seem to make sense, but again we can
Yeah,
go
they
over it.
also go
about
in a
that.
pecking order too. You have to have, they all set, if you've ever, I
Oh.
did chicken rigs, and that's what they came in and told us about, the pecking order. And when they have that, there has to be an odd amount of chickens, and we always had even, and that was something that Ruth, mentioned that maybe we would do. The pecking order. Have you ever heard of that, Erin? How
Yeah.
yeah. And that's why a lot of places have gone with odd numbers like 7, 9, because you got to have that one chicken that goes. If that chicken, it passes away, then the next one in line will come and take over and be the head of the coop. It's very interesting. I have a guy that they've been raising them for like 15 years, and you listen to them talk, you want to run out and get one yourself, but no, not my cup of tea.
So, okay, so what we really need to discuss then was not redone is section 4 or section 7 or section 4 to 7, section 7, fees and permits. So we have, so we basically just wiped it out, and apparently it's meant for us to discuss. Is that your understanding, Anthony?
The fees and the permits schedule?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, I believe I think we were holding this out so that we could discuss group kind of.
Right.
Yep.
Because I get what you're saying about density, but I even think, at some point, you're moving over to agriculture. Like this is meant to be backyard chickens. I think any more than 24 would be, would become, even if, it was the biggest hen house on the biggest backyard. I don't know. I don't think there are very many properties in Wakefield that would sustain that.
But so I guess would that be in itself kind of a natural cap as to, because there's only, the properties are only so big here, but.
I just think of, the average person like me reading this, I'm not going to do the math on the size cap and say, so that means you can have, I think it's just a little bit hard on the person who's processing the permit to sit there and do the square footage and say, well, that means you can have this many chickens.
What
So I
is do we have a density at all, Aaron? Just out of curiosity, do we have a current density, like how many square foot per chicken? I don't know if I was,
Well, there's,
It says 3.
it's 3, right now, it's
Yeah.
3, okay.
Yeah. 3
Yeah,
inside, 3 square feet of enclosed living space.
right, okay. Okay, I mean, yeah, I think I understand where you're coming from, Laurel.
I mean, you could do, for an
yeah.
example, chicken coop with these, these dimensions would equal a max of this amount of chickens, but I mean.
But then in
I
addition to
could
that,
just, yeah, I can.
you need to add in the pen, because the pen needs to have an additional 4 square feet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think like there is a bit of a natural kind of cap to this too, unless you're, certain.
Well, even if you listened to that woman, Kim, she said she had done her reading and how everything had recommended a certain amount of feet for
Right.
them, and the free roaming. And I think what we have, 3 in and 4 out, is that's a pretty good size of a pen. And let's face it, we all don't have 6 acres of land. We're not
Right.
living in the woods, or we're not up in Maine or someplace where
Right,
they
and
let
this
you
is why
have chickens.
variances happen, because
Yeah.
these coops are close to their neighbors, and
Right.
I mean, people are
And
able
you
to have
also
chickens.
have to remember too, is as I say to Anthony, there was a big thing about, Aaron probably remembers, with bird flu and how
Yep.
sometime it's going to come, and it has. And what happens is when that comes, I went to the training, you probably were there, Aaron. Once one chicken is found to have it, agricultural comes in, they take over and they
Mhm.
test them. They euthanize the
Yep.
whole flock. And
Yep.
if you have a whole chicken farm, they have to call in fire departments with foam, and it's unbelievable. So I think in keeping it to what we have, the 3 and the 4, is kind of keeping it a little bit at a safe number and a safe amount of space. Because I think if we start making them any bigger, we're going to end up with more and more people complaining.
Cindy, can you speak to like your experience? How many chickens do people usually want to have?
6.
6?
Yeah,
That's a pretty like usual request, 6 chickens.
6.
Okay, and that's
We
kind
had,
of,
we did have one permit holder who had a combination of 24 birds.
Yeah.
So, but he, I believe he passed away a few years ago. So he no longer has a permit, I don't know what happened. Was trying to find out. I only knew this because he wasn't responding, and I don't know what happened to all his birds, but that was the biggest one. Other than that, they're only between one woman now has 9. But I think we actually told everybody that they could have only more than 6. Even
but
though
a
the
variance
regs
could
say-
always be granted, right? If,
Yeah, and anybody who has them has more than 6 now is allowed to, because of our regulations say what they say. So
Right.
that won't change who has more than 6 right now. But I
Okay,
think it's
so-
going forward.
So as a person who gets hit with the administration of these things,
Mhm.
what would be helpful to you?
I would say if there's gonna be more, we're gonna have to know the size of the coop and the plot and if it's.
Which
if
we
it's
have to know
sufficient.
anyways, because that's part of the
Right.
inspection. Do we
Right.
have to put, I'm trying to avoid people doing calculations.
Yeah,
I mean, we could do birds / fowl : 3 per, however per whatever square feet, whatever that minimum is.
Be doing some sort of calculations if they want to be keeping chickens.
I agree.
Yes,
I mean,
but
this
I mean,
isn't like calculus here. I mean, this is pretty simple.
they should be, but I'm just being practical about about processing these permits and going, oh geez, hold on, we have to do a calculation I mean, it works both ways. Like 24 is probably too much for most of the coops. So maybe we do maximum of X in accordance to all other space and density requirements.
Well, I almost wonder, could we get around this issue of, confusing anybody with this math? Maybe what we do is we squeeze in an example
Yeah,
in the regulations. So we do like a sample calculation and say, maybe we don't do a hard cap, but we do say, you have 3 chickens, 3 purrs, we do 9, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Just any kind of simple example to give them so that,
yeah,
they
I
can-
was thinking of that as well. And
Yeah.
are we, and right now we're doing $10 per chick?
Oh. It's if you
No,
have,
I think it's per permit, right? So if you
Permit, okay.
have, if you're getting
The
chickens.
cattle, the horse, goats, and sheep are $10 per animal. Looks like everybody else is per permit.
It's just per permit. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, but I think like with restaurants, we require to do a plan review, you allow them to get a certain amount of food based on the space of their refrigerator. So like assigning a number of like deliveries per week,
Right.
or anything like that is sort of arbitrary.
Right.
'Cause it really depends on the space that you have.
I gotcha. Okay, so how are we gonna write this section, people?
So do we want to include, so we'll do the beginning there, the edits fine, including the Board of Health. So birds and fowls, so I guess section 7, right? Section 7, fees and permits. Number 2, where it lists well, it's all crossed out right now. But should we list, say birds and fowl, maximum density, we're saying 3, is that right? 3 feet, 3 square feet per chicken within the coop, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so should we should list that as birds and fowl, maximum density, 3 square feet per chicken in the coop. And then we can
But we
put a
have to
little,
include the outdoor space too, right?
and the outdoor space.
Yeah,
yes.
we'll list what's on the best management practices.
Yeah, we could just say see the section where it details it.
Okay, so that might just be easier. And then we can put the example. Do we want to put an example in there?
I think
Does
that's a
that
good
go over
idea,
here?
Yeah, we can do that.
right?
Okay.
That would help folks sort of figure it out for themselves. But I mean, caring for animals, I think these regulations are probably like pretty similar in other towns, and even in commercial farming, I'm sure there's somewhat similar regulations. This is how much space the animal needs inside and outside. So I don't think it would be, and in some ways, maybe it would be even a useful exercise for folks to take a moment and think about, like, this is how we're going to treat these animals, and they should have this kind of space, and this makes sense.
Yeah, and I think if you buy a coop versus building one yourself, it gives that, they'll give you information about, how many it's supposed to safely hold, like humanely.
Right.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about the fee? Like, keep it at 10 once? Is it per year? Do they need a permit every year?
It's every year.
I would recommend increasing it, but not more than 50, like it shouldn't be more than $50, maybe 25.
yeah,
I think
Okay.
that's what
Yeah, what are other towns doing?
I think let's see. I wanted to look at like when.
I don't think this is the year that people are wanting to hear about increases, but
10's pretty low.
10 is pretty low.
that will be for next year.
Good point. Because the economy will be recovered by then.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be okay with 20.
yeah, me too. I mean, it's just fun. We look at these things so infrequently and they're so archaic, and we bring them up to speed, and it's like a little bit of sticker shock for people. So
I mean,
But
it
at the
does.
same-
It takes time to look through
it
these
takes
things.
a lot of time.
And if we
So
do
can
have
I-
to send
Calculations, yeah.
someone
Can I-
out there, it's their time to.
Can I
visit.
jump in? Can I jump in about the fee? So we can consider something like an initial permit. We can do 50. It seems like other towns, the example here being Winchester, there's a $50 initial permit. Do we want to do like a renewal is 20 sort of thing?
Wow.
I mean, that is where all the work is the initial
Right.
permitting.
Yeah,
exactly.
maintaining the 50. I think is still a little steep. I don't know, like.
Okay, yeah. we can
Winchester's
discuss
lovely.
that.
I don't know if I'd compare us as closely to them as to some other neighbors.
What about just the first, go with the 30 and
Yeah.
then go with 20 down, and that's
Yeah.
just, that's not much of a thing, and that's the increments
Or
of
even like
10.
30, 15, like some 30, 20, something like
I
that.
mean, we're in fact supposed to be inspecting these annually, we need to build in a little recouping, pardon the,
Well, I was gonna say, I mean,
Chicken jokes.
I couldn't think of anything else.
gas prices are going
Reimbursement.
up.
Yeah.
So I could
We're gonna
see.
get bikes for all of our inspectors.
Nice.
Healthy Wakefield.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 30, and I kind of like 30 and 15.
Okay,
30 and 15.
yeah, that's fine.
Sounds good.
Do we want to talk about the fees for the other animals? Do you want to make it the same?
Yeah, I mean, it's all the same amount of work.
But what about the stable permit? I noticed that one
Yeah.
stands out as a higher fee. I don't even really.
Well, does anyone even have a stable currently?
No,
No.
no one has enough land.
I would imagine that one would be pretty involved if we ever got to that point and had a stable. That would probably be more time
I'd say
on our hands.
100 at least.
Yeah, and we might want to talk to the assessor too to see if anyone is designated as like
Yeah.
are the about the
Farm,
designated
yeah.
farms. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to do like 75 or something? Because we're doing 30 and 15, doing a 75 for the stable permit, even though we don't have anything zoned, or we
Yeah,
don't know
I
if we
mean-
have anything zoned.
It's
I
a
see it listed
huge-
here. It must be here for some reason.
It's a huge amount of, I mean, Erin, you've done it, but to me, it's a big inspection.
Yeah.
I'm thinking 100.
Okay.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you think equestrian.
And is the
money.
stable a yearly inspection also, Erin?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and at that inspection, you can look at their vet records and things like that, but
Yeah.
people are, typically people with horses are, they
Very
have
careful.
everything in order.
It's an
They're
investment.
getting them shoed regularly and, they're
And so these people would pay their stable fee, their stable permit, and then they would pay their horse permit also. They would have to like re-permit for each animal every year if they did have horses.
No, I don't
No,
think
well,
so.
we
just the
have
annual
stable permit for 5 or more horses.
more.
Right, but then I see on item 2, you also need a permit for
Cattle,
each
it says
animal.
cattle, cows, horses, goats.
Oh,
and
I
sheep,
missed
right?
that.
Yeah. Yep.
Eh,
I mean, nobody has one, so maybe we don't really need to belabor this, but
Is this for like privately owned stables, or is this for like?
Yes. So
business?
these are all privately owned. We don't currently have any commercial stables
Right.
in Wakefield.
I don't even know where one would go.
Yeah,
Because
but
I
there
guess-
are still,
yeah.
still a couple of homes in areas here that do have, like, they have land, but they don't have as much as we would think, but they're all grandfathered in as farm. That's how that guy, I think, got his sheep, right? Cindy, and the guy that got the goats, because he's considered on farmland.
Oh, he has like farm status?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a guy on Main Street up by the lake that had farm status for years. I don't know if he still has it.
Yeah, there's probably not many left.
He had a baby pony. That's why I know, because my kids asked how come if he got one, we couldn't get one. So
That's a valid question.
I'm wondering if that was all the land that was sold for Carriage Lane.
might have been. They might have given it up, but yeah.
I
Okay.
guess it's just interesting that the stable happens to be the only thing where you have a structure fee in addition to
Right.
the animal fee. Where there's not like, for example, like a chicken coop fee. But I guess there just wouldn't be an inspection of the coop the way there needs to be an inspection of the stable.
We're still looking at sort of the same things. You're really just looking for cleanliness and like access to food and any rodent activity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could we just keep it as that number 2 as cattle, cows, goats, and sheep, and keep that fee per animal, and then put horses and stables down below, but just don't put a number, or keep it as no more than 5, or for 5. I don't know. Then they could have 1 horse. I don't think anybody's going to keep a horse, and they're very expensive.
Mm. Who knows the health inspector in Dover? They would know. Math. Okay.
Maybe stay focused on the birds. That seems like the thing that matters most for us here in Wakefield. So
I almost feel like, this may be making it ridiculously complicated, but all the work is in the coop placement. It's not really about the chickens. So I'm just wondering, do we just change it and go, coop plan and prep, initial license, whatever we said, 50. And then
annual fee,
annual fee.
animal fee or whatever.
Or birds and fowl to include coop plan, initial application with coop. I don't know.
But then I think we definitely, if we're going to do that, then we're sending someone out there to verify it, right? Where I'm guessing that for someone to have a stable permit, someone goes out every year to examine that stable.
Okay, so, and sometimes it's best not to tightly define your regs so that, they can kind of be interpretable. So keeping it a simple list also is a strategy. Just like it is, it just looks archaic the way it's currently written. It's from 1986. What do you people who read regs think? Where are our process people? Where are those interns? You're behind my thing.
They'll be writing about this in their experience.
Wouldn't believe the knucklehead stuff they do. Anyways.
It's a hard thing with a reg, especially with animals, because it's not like, we have chickens. Yeah, pigeons, you might have them. That's an old time thing. And cattles and cows and horses is like, who has a horse anymore? Nobody around here.
That feels like out of our wheelhouse, because it's
Yeah.
not like
People I
human
know
health.
who owned horses kept them at
Yeah, they probably board them
Board them.
somewhere else.
Board
Anyone who
them
does have a
somewhere.
horse.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know anyone who had a privately owned stable.
Although I grew up in a house, my house and I lived in the city was part of a mansion. In the backyard was the original horse trough.
Yeah.
It was all cement and stone. And that's where we used to plant our flowers and veggies every year. Ooh, beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah, but it was part of the original mansion that was in the back.
Okay.
cool.
So is the intent of tonight was to hash this out and then we have to have a public hearing about our final draft, right?
But I think once we hash it and then we have to really go back over it, because you think of it, this is June. In July, would we really and truly get many people for a public hearing?
Right.
So would we go over it in July and hope
Do you
that?
think anybody would come to a public hearing on this? I don't know that it's.
I would
anybody's
guess people
priority.
that have chickens
Yeah, yeah.
or people that are
Well,
considering having chickens.
and when can we can't have meetings in person until I believe December. Is that what we were told, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, December. So, and
Well,
I don't know.
Well, again,
We
these
have
are
more
not. These are,
access on Zoom.
yeah. Again, this is not super urgent. We can again, if we have nothing pressing in
again,
July,
yeah.
we could address this again in August. Again, public hearings, like you guys know, it's a week in advance of notice in the paper, that sort of thing. Make sure everybody knows that it's going on. But we could again, we can go again in August. We can hash this out because we already talked about a lot of it tonight.
And
we
this
don't-
was posted publicly and there's nobody here.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
Right, yeah.
No, I know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not. It's a matter of us doing what is legal and required. I don't
Mhm.
think we need to.
But Anthony, is this actually one of those things that needs to have a public hearing? Because sometimes I've been surprised that.
From what I understand, if we're changing fees and permits and regulations, I believe that requires a public
Okay.
hearing. But
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. Well, Aaron, you've done this. We do need a public hearing, from what I understand.
I believe so, but we can always double check with legal
Yeah.
about what
The only-
and the town clerk about
The
the
thing that we
requirements,
haven't
because
had
we're we're updating them.
right.
Yeah.
Revising, yeah, and putting
Yeah.
a stamp on it. But
Yeah.
one of the things that we realized we didn't even have to vote on, but it was more, nice to know, was kind of operationally, operation things, like how we, this is a reg, but how you're handling it on the backside does
Yeah,
not need to be, it was like, so this is how we're gonna handle this.
Yeah.
And that is a matter, that's an administrative decision.
yes,
Yeah.
correct. I would say the only reason I would err towards this needing to be a public hearing is that we had done tobacco regulations prior. And so when we updated tobacco regulations to meet the state standard, we didn't need a public hearing because we were moving it up to that level. But when
Right.
we do anything stricter than the state regulation, then we would need to. So I would assume this is
That's true. And the
something-
state doesn't have, they leave it up to each municipality to do their
Yep.
own animal regulating.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of default to this being,
Yeah.
anything we do is kind of, I guess, stricter than the state, I guess, in that sense. So then we would need to
Okay.
have a public hearing. So
I think these regulations do a really good job though of, protecting public health, they mention testing the flock and making sure your birds are from a reputable source. And also, it recommends the animal quarantines from each other when you do get new birds. And that's one of the best things you
Yep.
can do to prevent illness from the rest of your flock. And also we don't want it to be too restrictive because we do want people to permit their animals because that's
Right.
the quickest way to get out information about avian flus if they do happen, is
Right.
to be able to email all of our permit holders and inform them of, any news about chickens.
I wonder how many folks have chickens that aren't permitted.
I know a lot of times we find out because of complaints and
Right,
people
right,
don't know they're supposed to get a permit. So I mean, we
right, and
can't
that's
fault
fair.
them
And
for
I
that.
wonder,
Yeah.
like, how many folks have chickens and their neighbors don't mind, and
Yeah.
so like nobody said anything, and there it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you make a good point, which is, we rarely post anything in the item unless it's we're having this meeting. And I always talk about controlling our own message. This is not at all sexy, but a little PR saying, hey, just so you know, back here, even like we find someone with a coop who talks about that experience, and then they kind of embed in that. And the way to do this is first to get a permit from the Board of Health. They're super helpful and they have really great ideas. Not, and to Erin's point, it's always so helpful to say, so what are we trying to do? It's like, well, we're trying to keep, we're trying to keep things in control and safe, and reasonable. And, we're not trying to be punitive. We're trying to be supportive and helpful to avoid any,
Yeah, because even if people come to us, if they already have chickens, it's not like we make them get rid of them and start over, like we're like, all right, we'll go from now, we'll go.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we do.
I think the majority of folks really just didn't know, right? That
I agree. Yeah, I don't think it's anything like out of.
sinister, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also curious, do these regulations say anything about things like keeping bees?
No, I know this for a fact, actually, because I have bees. And I actually emailed Cindy, and there is nothing about bees.
Yeah, so Anthony and I talked about it a little bit, but you're a beekeeper?
I am,
Oh, cool.
Oh,
I am. And really, like, I just
no
take a
honey
deep
for
breath.
Christmas. Put it on the record.
I know. Unfortunately, I'm a first-year beekeeper, and there's not a lot of honey available. But the thing that they mention most is just like opening a conversation with your neighbors. Like, I'm going to do this. Of course, like always sweetening the deal by offering them some honey, but like just to kind of let them know, especially if the hive is near their property line or near like an area. But I think a lot of towns don't have bee regs unless you really want to have multiple hives and get a little bit more of
An operation.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Well, and then that butts right up against mosquito control.
Right. Because
So, and Wakefield loves their spraying.
yeah.
And we
And
do
even
have-
if you sort of request not to be sprayed, I mean,
pretty difficult.
honestly, yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Yep. All these things are connected.
yeah.
Okay, I'm kind of tired of looking at this, Greg, so what are we doing? I need
Why
to
don't we
be
go
right.
ahead, let's finish the conversation about the permits and the fees, right? It sounded like we were kind of close to getting somewhere. And so are we thinking that we are not gonna have a maximum number? We're gonna stick with the guidelines about the space? And direct
can
the
try-
applicant to the
Yeah.
space?
Maybe
Does
we
anybody
can
have
write-
any issue with the 3 and the 4? I'm guessing somewhere that regulation had been put forth, it's safe and it's healthy and
Yeah,
that's
I
why.
think those are the free range guidelines.
Okay,
Yeah,
which
so
is great.
that's-
So we
yeah,
should do
yeah.
what they're doing. That's good.
Well,
Yeah,
then
so the most
all-
humane, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
all I would write would be per density recommendations, see section.
X or Y, whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then move to a $30 initial fee and a $15 annual renewal.
Yep.
Anyone want a motion on that?
Can we do it as a section?
Yeah, all right. Are we gonna move to a 30-15 on the other animals and a 75 on the stable?
I think we might as well, right? Just to keep that
Right?
consistent.
It seems like they've all been consistent before, so we could consistently adjust.
Candace, we don't need to make a motion until we're actually voting on the whole regulation.
The whole thing, we don't need to do like on this particular piece?
No, no.
All right, so then is someone possibly just gonna make some changes? So what we're talking, Cindy? Are
Yeah,
you
so,
gonna-
so the process should be that we're hashing out the changes. The next time we look at this, we look at those changes and approve them, and then we make the motion to approve the revision of
All
them.
right. Does
Okay.
that sound clear, Cindy, what we just
We-
said?
Yeah, we actually didn't need to have a public hearing on this tonight, then. It could have just been as a discussion. And then when we go to vote, we
Mhm.
go to make, change the rails to change, vote on them. That's when we would have the public hearing, but
Right.
so we're just not ready.
This is a
seems
working
like. So we
section
can
right now.
do it
Great,
again.
okay, thank you for clarifying that. All right. So that sounds good. And then was there another, the animal inspector versus animal control? Erin, were you thinking you'd be able to learn a little bit more about that? And
Oh, yeah, well, the animal inspector, I can send, we can send everyone the animal inspector. Because it's just a different set of duties than the animal control officer. But yes, I'm definitely going to meet with the animal inspector and discuss the
barn
job
book?
duties. Yeah,
is that happening? And
yeah, and see where we're at in Wakefield.
okay,
with
My,
those.
my hunch is that our prior health director and inspector shared animal duties. And it's very different from the animal control duties. So this is an excellent time to revisit that, having a new member or several new members in the health department. It's, you just say, hey, I'm just, we're looking at these regs and it came up that, we have a different structure in Wakefield. Let's clarify our expectations of what each body does.
Yeah, because we want to make sure our state mandates are being met too.
Yep.
If they're,
Yep.
if they're not.
okay. And I wonder if maybe, like I noticed there's a section here near the end, section 11, where they talk about reptiles and snakes. I wonder if, and it's a very small section, it basically says you can't have them. I wonder if that kind of stuff should be all the way to the end of the regs for simplicity.
Have poisonous reptiles or snakes, right?
Poisonous, yeah.
Right.
Oh, just poisonous. Okay,
Yes.
Yeah, you
Just
can have
poisonous.
them, just not poisonous ones.
not
Yeah.
poisonous. Yeah.
Right, but maybe like to clarify the regs for those looking through them, the stuff that just can't happen, put it at the end and put it all in one spot.
I know this might be just a bit of a wording thing, but title of section 11, reptiles and poisonous snakes, and this says no poisonous snakes or reptiles. Should we title the whole thing poisonous snakes and reptiles? Because it looks like it excludes reptiles in the
Right.
title. I don't know.
Yeah,
If
or like, something that says like animals prohibited.
Yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
and just
Okay.
put the animals there.
sure.
But I do feel like the rooster should stay with the chickens.
Good.
Yeah.
He's a family member.
Also, do these numbers line up? Because then, we have all this, like it says no more than 6 hens, like all of a sudden I don't even, I just want to make sure we're not contradicting prior parts of the. And
He
how
at least to
structures
look
are-
at like a clean copy and then figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's time to look at it.
Because it's hard to,
because-
yeah.
Yeah, because it seems to me. Yeah, so a clean copy. So the next time, if folks in the department can really look at it, you spread it out and print it and say, does the puzzle fit? Like, is there any part that contradict, like, I think we fixed it in one section and we might not have fixed it with the
Yeah.
other. Because I swear to God, I just glanced somewhere that we came back with a number again. And I said, we got to get a maximum of 6 hens may be permitted.
Yeah, that
Where did
was
that
the
come
revision, so we can get rid of that. But I
Yeah.
think we wanted everyone to see what was being deleted also.
Right. Yeah. No, and it totally makes sense. So I see what Ruth did. So what's
Yeah.
funny is we crossed out the fees altogether. So here we are, yakking about if 24 is a good number, and already is the intent that 6 was the maximum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she wanted. That's
Yeah.
what our permit, online permit only allows you to ask for 6 right now.
Okay.
Okay.
But so we're gonna probably adjust that so that won't make the final edited version before we review them again, the 6, and then anything else that we figure out is that we discussed tonight. So
Okay.
Okay,
Do you want to put a pin in it there?
yeah.
It's 8:36. Any other last thoughts? Next meeting?
I was gonna say, can we discuss maybe a time? So do we want to continue doing 7 o'clock, or because we're going to be remote, it seems like until December. Do we want to keep it at 7 o'clock, or is there potential for moving it a little bit earlier?
I can move a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I don't get out of the office till 5. I think
Okay.
I'm retired.
No, you're not.
I think
Or
Elaine.
not.
I think Elaine's going to be our biggest issue here.
Liar.
I am retired. I really am right now. Nothing.
For
Nothing.
another week.
Yeah, I'm busy doing fundraising. That's what I'm doing, writing
Oh.
grants.
Laura, could 6 happen for you?
Yeah, once a month I could definitely do that.
I could do 6 also. How about Cindy, Anthony?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's okay with me. So
Yeah,
same
Erin,
day.
it's
So
good.
same day.
Yeah, I think this may need to be revisited when we meet back in person again. May. I'm not saying it definitely will, but
Yeah.
depending on where things are at.
Yeah.
But 6 would be good.
awesome.
So the other is access to the public. So think about that. So that's,
I think 6 is equally, if not more accessible, perhaps, right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
but if you look, sometimes there's one other meeting on the Wednesday that we meet, and I know if there's one or
Rec-
two at the same
recreation.
time, that causes a heck of a commotion with Zoom. I don't know, Cindy, when you go to book it,
Yeah.
doesn't she? Yeah,
No, it's usually the 7 o'clock. If it's not, when I hang after this meeting, I immediately email her. So I book the room. Otherwise we lose the 7 o'clock spot.
So it sounds like 7's the more popular one right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
so,
all right, so we just have to make sure. So remember, going back to our website, it says generally meets at 7 o'clock on the 3rd Tuesday, whatever. So let's just every time we do something like this, we have to double check what's going out to the public and the website.
Yes.
So it's probably time to revise that anyways. It's also, I hardly ever look at the website, and then when I do, I'm like, I wonder if that makes sense to me. But certainly better. So I'm fine with 6. Is the 14th our next time? I'm on vacation.
I'm sorry, Elaine, you said 6 is okay for you?
yeah,
Okay.
I can make it work if I'm somewhere or like at a beach or at a pool or
Beach.
something, I can join you.
I
I
believe
won't be.
the next would be the 20th, Laurel, yeah? The 3rd Wednesday, the 20th of July?
Oh, sorry. I got a new calendar and it always flips where Wednesday and Thursday goes. I am
Else-
on
yeah.
vacation and cannot do the 20th.
I was gonna say, so do we, if we
We
have
often
nothing
don't meet
pressing,
in July, just so
I
you
was
know.
gonna say, yeah, exactly. If we're not
And August,
pressing, can we do August?
We
Yeah,
haven't
Yeah.
gotten away with that ever.
but we tried. We
Oh, we-
tried. Last year we didn't, but the year before we got away with July and August.
Did we? Because, you know, it's always a cigarette. or two. August would be,
17.
Or would that be the 10th? Oh, is it
17 would be the
is it
third.
Oh, the
I
third
could
Wednesday,
not.
okay.
August. Oh, I will be home by then. I should be home.
All right, August 17th. 6 p.m.
If I'm at camp, I'll zoom in. I'll probably be tied to a tree. Let's see. When's camp?
Okay.
All right. Hey, everybody, happy summer.
Yeah. Go to the farmer's market.
Yeah, grand
Right.
opening.
I'll be there for Saturday.
Oh, good.
My first
Oh,
one.
good.
All right.
Good.
Speaking of which, we're
Awesome.
gonna have to find in the fall, you know, we just have to secure a date when we have flu vaccines and whatever version of
It
COVID.
sounds
What
like,
else we have?
it sounds like we're anticipating vaccines to get here very late September, if not very beginning of October.
Okay,
Oh,
That's the
wow.
time,
And we're
that's the
not-
timeline we use.
we're not gonna do the under fives. We're hoping that pediatricians.
Yes, from what I understand, and you know, Elaine was at the meeting. Sounds like all the MAPHN nurses were not too excited to do under 5. So
No, it's very difficult, as you saw.
Yeah.
Even if we're not a VFC site anyways for vaccines, so we're not used to even vaccinating that young,
Right.
and even working in a community, we had it. The only time we were mandated was during H1N1 when we
Right.
were mandated to do it then. And then it was difficult because you had to have a nurse who had a lot of PD experience.
So,
So,
That can ruin it for everyone. Yeah.
yeah,
no, we
yeah.
know. We were
Yeah,
there.
we know that. No matter what you had, candy, balloon, dog.
I know some of them
Water.
it doesn't matter. I remember like pulling one out from under a table. Like,
Oh,
"Come on."
Yep. Yep. You have to,
What are we gonna
yeah.
do? You want to do what's best. You're given the service, and I
know.
think we've gone above and beyond the last couple of years.
Yep.
And that was one thing with MAPHM between us, and a lot of us are school nurses and have school nurses under them, and it's very difficult for under that age. You know, Candace, you got them. You have them every day. You too. I only had the 5-year-olds to give like 5 vaccines at once. That was nothing.
Right.
So you know, Canvas, someone wanted to know where the graffiti came from on our driveway.
Oh, those are my little artists.
Oh, they're wonderful. No, someone was
Cute.
joking around. All right.
All right.
Well, enjoy, everybody. We'll see you in August.
Make a motion to
August?
adjourn.
Yes. Yes. Let's end this on the right note. You're right. A motion to adjourn.
I did that.
Right.
I'll second that.
All in favor.
Bye.
Bye, Silva. And don't forget, this week is relay on Friday night up at the Vogue. I'd love to see you there. I'll be there for 20-something
Nana.
hours, so.
I'm out of town, but good luck.
Good luck,
Oh,
Elaine.
thank you. Oh, yeah, 20-something hours. The only thing this year is I'm not the MC, so that's really good. I can really concentrate on a lot of other things. I don't have to stand there and talk. That's the best part this time. Which, by the way, I couldn't do the day I got that award, as Anthony knows. Could not do that. Could not talk.
Oh,
We'll see.
well deserved. All right,
Yeah.
everyone.
All right.
Have a nice
Erin, thanks
summer.
for joining
Bye,
Enjoy the
everybody.
4th.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.